person on radio in the entire country that can actually pronounce things like "it is this" instead of sounding like "it is these."
Bang your head.
This is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen.
On that day, the road ahead, it changed. Oh, memories never fade when there's still pain. Will the clock stop crawling? Will your voice stop haunting me? Will the day arrive when souls no longer bleed? Am I wrong if I say I'd like to trade this life? Is it wrong to wait after all these years? You're never here, you're never now. If you can, please let me go. I'm on the edge, so much that I conspire. You're always on my mind. If howsoever time turns back, ever have a chance to change our stories, I would end my own to open yours.
Требует наши сердца. Вот, блядь. Спасибо.
All right, ladies and gentlemen,
Corn, can you hear me?
I'm driving in Russia. That's what I said. It's my birthday. Well, for the PG rated, it's my birthday, and I decided to grab a special treat, which is the smart car, in quotes. And I think it's in quotes because it's actually not smart. It's kind of like saying the kids are very special, which used to mean, you know, in a previous universe that someone was above average or extraordinary. They were special. Now it means that something is, you know, well, you understand. It's not really a very smart car. I remember being, you know, a kid not so long ago and always dreaming of driving and trying to figure out different ways to disassemble the lawnmower and stick the engine in the back of this piece of wood, stapled and hammered together to make some kind of a go-kart. Well, somebody made that dream a reality. It's called the smart car. The engine shuts off when you stop at a red light, and you can't get going again until you wait for it to start again. But it's got a lot of damn room. You wouldn't think, to be honest. And the poor victims that decided to rent me this car are called you too, buddy. Are called you. This is the most non-driving culture I've ever seen. I think only Japan, Korea, and I mean North Korea, and you know, countrified Japan could possibly have a larger collection of no driving mofos. Seriously. You know, in Russia, in Moscow, I mean, it's just Moscow, you can't turn right on a red. You also can't turn right on a green. Go figure that one out. If you're going down a street with two lanes that are both going in the same direction, well, your line, the engine shut off again. The line between you and the car that's, you know, next to you is white. Generally solid, sometimes broken. If you're on a two-way street, single lane in each direction, same thing. You cannot imagine how disturbing it is to turn on a street and see a white line, not knowing if you've just accidentally turned onto a one-way street the wrong way. I've done it more than once. They don't have a lot of signs here that says, one-way street, do not enter. Warning, this will get you killed. No. And stop signs almost don't exist. They just have a large collection of mutually understood, you gotta stop for these things and yield here and yield there. Stop signs are really rare, and when you do find them, they're in English. Go figure. I guess we're the only ones supposed to stop are the ones who can read it in English. But anyway, I'm on my way home. Went to McDonald's, grabbed some McMuffin action for the little woman. And when I say little woman, I mean she's 5'3" and 95 pounds. So yeah. And then I'm probably going to take her to work. But I doubt it'll be in this car because I'm not sure the go-kart engine can take much more of it. Anyway, haven't had a report in a long time. Really haven't had much to say. I've just been kind of dealing with life and working and trying to find a drummer. Oh yeah, that reminds me. Pretty much everybody that I've talked to suggests the same dude, which is the, I'm not sure if he's the founding drummer, but he certainly was the previous drummer for a pretty well-known band here in Moscow called Plan Lomonosov. And I mean, I met the singer. I don't know him real well, but I've talked to him. He seems like a cool guy. I don't know that I've met the drummer, but probably at some point I did. Reached out to him today. The other people in the band that I talked to don't have an objection to him, which is cool, because I found a few different drummers who were interested and seemed, physically, mentally appropriate for the task, but apparently they had skeletons that I wasn't aware of. So, yeah. So hopefully we'll talk to him, and he does seem to be searching for a band, and man, we got a good one, I think. So we'll see what he says. His name's Dmitry Dima. All right, this is me signing out. Have a nice day. I'm gonna try to find that Baskin Robbins around or somewhere, and maybe get an ice cream birthday cake. It's probably the closest thing I'm gonna find. Peace out. All right, well, this trip home is sucking more and more the further along it I get. I guess I made the mistake of heading towards the nearest McDonald's, which put me into essentially the 7th layer of hell traffic. And I can't imagine that these smart cars are going to have the greatest repair record on the starter mechanism, or the solenoid or the motor or whatever the hell, the gears. This thing shuts off and restarts itself in traffic like this 10 times a minute. It's ridiculous. I'm getting honked at more than a chick in a miniskirt. It's crazy. Yeah. So if you've never seen the joy that is Moscow street design, well, it's a study in what not to do, to be honest. So let's talk about city planning. When you build, I don't know, 5 or 10,000 turn this off. Yeah, it's a stupid song anyway. I hate it. When you build probably 5 to 10,000 new residential units. Now these are apartments between 6 probably and 20 stories high. Thousands of them. And they're all in the outskirts of the city. Really nothing kind of new. There's a lot of historical buildings in the center, and it's just really expensive. It's like any big city, and the center is crowded and overpriced. So most people that want a nice place to live, they got to move out to the suburbs. That's what they call here the Zhopomira. Of the world. yeah, they don't like that very much, but it's what it is. It's kind of like being in LA and not having a 213 number. You get the idea. So, when you build, let's say, I don't know, maybe it's 50,000, who knows? 10,000 new. You got to permit that, I'm assuming. And part of that permitting process, I would think, would be to plan for these people are being probably going to be car drivers. They're generally not the older crowd, the older set that, walks, with tearful eyes with their hands out, holding a cucumber in one hand and a tomato in the other, and looking very angry, expecting you to give them money and wondering why that they're not the most important, group of people on the earth. Elderly ladies in Russia are very unpleasant as a general rule. Now, it's probably because they tend to outlive the men here, and there's almost no men statistically over 55, 60. Seriously, they die easy, quick. And over half of the men in Russia die drunk. That's a statistic for you. They die drunk. Oh my God. Yeah, there's no alcoholism here. Yeah. So this street is called Chaussée Entusiastov, which means basically the enthusiast highway. And it's 3 lanes in each direction for miles, with very little opportunity to turn on or turn off. It's essentially kind of a hybrid highway freeway, what you'd think of. One of the lanes in each direction is basically, you think of it as an HOV lane, or like a bus lane, or for taxi cabs, buses, not for carpools though. No. No. I mean, if you're one of the members of the ruling party here, then you've got the little blue light special on the top of your car that you can stick on there, and everybody has to fear you and get out the way. That's a real thing. However, instead of reducing the traffic load, they decided to expand the freeway and put a bus lane in that people that buy houses typically aren't the demographic that's going to take public transportation, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, somebody screwed the pooch. And it's not just this one spot. It's friggin' everywhere. This dude will not let me in. I got a honk. That's the international symbol for don't be a douchebag. All right, I'm a smart car. I'm like less size than your bumper, dude. Relax. Anyway, yeah. And there's no railroad track arms. You got to see this. There's nothing. No, sir. No warnings. No sirens. No start car. This is like driving a lawn mower on the freeway. And yeah. So, quite a lot of freeways here, to be honest. They decided not to paint any lane demarcations. It's just like 4 lanes wide, maybe 5. Use the zen of driving. Just pick a spot and hopefully someone follows you, or you can follow someone, and hopefully they're not as dumb as the people who designed the roads. That would be tragic. And also, the police here come in 2 varieties. The ones that basically don't really take a care act. They really don't give a rat's ass what you do, because about every half a mile or so, there's 2 different varieties of screw you in the wallet camera. One is a speed camera, and they're like every half a mile to a mile. And the other is you're in the lane that should have been made for you, but decided to get made for the buses and taxis. You got to understand, the general speed limit in this city, even on the freeway, is 60. Keep in mind, this is a metric country, which means 60 kilometers per hour. So, you do the math. Man, I'm the grandmaest person I know. It's really, really hard to steer at these slow speeds. But you know what? You can go 60 in a school zone here. I don't give a shit. And all of a sudden, you can go from 60 to 40 to 20 in the blink of an eye, and that camera just got you. But you don't worry. The fine is only 275 rubles if you pay it in the first 20 days after receiving it. How much is that in dollars, you ask? I'm glad you asked. It's $3.50. Payable at any ATM. What a racket. You got no defense. They just take your picture and tell you you were speeding. How the hell do I know if I was speeding? It's a photo of a car. Doesn't say anything about the speed. But you know what? As they say, это Россия, детка.